I'm at a turning point in my life where I know I can feel the shift physically, emotionally, spiritually. The person I was 30 days ago, even 6 months ago, is drastically different compared to who I am today. And don't get me wrong, I still experience life struggles, hurdles. I've been laying on this couch like, what do I do now, God? Like, what am I doing? And I realized in that stillness, in those moments of quietness where I felt like nothing is happening, I'm not going anywhere, I don't feel like I'm developing as a person. And I have those days, right? But I'm doing my best to not have as many of them. But it's through those days that I realized, oh, it's because I no longer align with the old version of me, meaning the things I prioritized before, the people I prioritized before, the places, even my work. In the month of May, I took a huge leap of faith once again and called and or emailed a few of my clients and said, I'm no longer working with you. I'm taking a different direction with my career. And there was just like this giant sense of relief. And I was like, dang, like, what else am I holding on to that I've just been wanting to let go or needing to let go for years? And I'll be honest, this next iteration or this next phase of my career or this next stage of my career and life is just all up to God, truly. I have an idea and a vision, which I'm trusting and having faith that these are God's plans for me that I see myself going towards. But there was so many layers and stories I had to shed or at least retell in my mind to get me to even just make a little bit of progress, which eventually led to let me take this leap. It's now or never. Calling them and telling people I've worked with for almost a decade plus now that I have to cut ties, no matter how good of a person they are or how often or not they give me business. It just was no longer serving me. The amount of hours that I was investing in them was not equaling up to how I was investing in myself. Yeah, I would get paid, but it just wasn't adding up as the older I got. The older I got into my business, the older I got into my days. So getting used to, in a sense, quitting. I don't like using that word in this sense because I didn't quit. I let go. And being at this turning point in life, I know we all experience it, but I didn't want to turn into a new lane or a new path or a new highway that would lead me in a direction that was that was only pleasing others. Serving others is different. I think we're all put on this earth to serve others in some way, shape, or capacity. But serving and pleasing them in a way that creates separation between you, God, but just who you are at your core is different. I think you can serve others in ways that you're born with talents, you're born with skills, you're born with kindness, you're born with love, care, empathy, money, even. Those can go to serve others in ways to uplift them, to encourage them. And I just wasn't getting that out of my career as a real estate transaction coordinator. Now, I still have one team that is on my roster because if I had let them go, I would have no income. But then again, I'm grappling now as I feel like now I'm in the turning lane. Like I know I'm at this turning point and I've been going down this somewhat smooth, somewhat rocky, somewhat incline, fast lane, stuck in traffic type lifestyle. And that now I'm finally out of it and I've exited off of that road and now I'm on a new path, but I'm on that turning lane that's going to get me on the other side of this, what feels like a mountain, right? So I'm curious now, why am I holding on to them? And if I am going to hold on to them, am I making sure that I'm still investing now my extra free time into myself, the business, but also just following God's plan for me? Because ultimately, having faith takes practice. Believing in yourself takes practice. Having courage takes practice. Looking in the mirror and saying, I love me, takes practice. Even when don't like all of you, being able to say, I like myself, I love myself. It takes practice. So now that I'm in this place where I'm starting over again, but from experience, I'm being mindful of slowing down, because I find myself getting impatient, especially when money's not coming in and I'm just looking at this column of debt, this column of expenses, savings, what savings, and I'm 41. Is that even right? You know what I mean? When I look back, and this is where those major mind shifts happened, right? I spent a lot of last summer, this time last year, on this couch, just stuck for hours and days on end, not changing my situation because I didn't know how to. I was so buried in my own narratives and stories and attachments to money being my value, that when I had hella money last year, I was at my lowest. Whereas now, 2025, I I have enough money to pay the bills, go through this transition in my career. I might have to call a bill collector or two and say, hey, I might be a little late this week, but it'll get there next week. And that's just where I'm at. And I'm okay with that. Whereas last year, I was so terrified to miss a single payment. I was so terrified to let go of certain subscriptions or certain habits like drinking. I was so afraid to not be there for other people that I was putting myself last, 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 last. And in those moments where I felt like I needed the love the most, I was rejected. So this is a lot deeper than I'm even realizing, not just in this moment, but what I've just uncovered in these last 6 months. And granted, I am self-employed, I work from home, so I do have a lot of time, and I make the time to be still, to be silent, to have a gratitude folder, to pray in the morning, to read my Bible. I just started reading the Bible this year intentionally. Let me know if you're still watching this, if you want to hear my perspective of what I'm reading and the things I was told and I just believed. And that's a part of this whole journey too, is like, what stories am I going to keep carrying on with me and not take some time to just say, do I still want to do it that way? Do I still want to? This is a random example, but rice. You have to clean your rice before you cook it. And growing up, I always saw everyone cleaning it in the sink, in the bowl, or whatever, pot pan they used. And they washed it, washed it, rinsed it, then cooked it. But I've always been low key a germaphobe. And when I became an adult, like a couple years ago, no, but real talk, when I started cooking for myself and realizing, okay, I have to feed myself. I'm hungry and I don't want to go spend money every single day. Let me just make some rice. I could do that. I know how to make rice. I was like, I don't like how this feels. I don't like cleaning the rice with my hands. So I was like, wait a minute, why am I cleaning it with my hands? I could just use a glove or a spoon, a strainer. So there was a, it's little things like that, that now being in my 40s, I'm unlearning, that I feel like maybe it held me back, maybe it didn't. But in the bigger picture, I looked at money as my value as a person internally. When I have a lot of money, I'm able to show up, show out, help people, be outside, go to events, buy new stuff, you know? Whereas now I have to like low key penny pinch or be frugal. And both are not my identity. I love to splurge. I've narrowed that down. I do love to spend, but I'm a lot more intelligent about my spending. I'm a lot more mindful of my spending. I'm a lot more cutesy, demure about my spending. But it comes down to, okay, what are my priorities now? I was giving myself to all these people that I love, family, friends, but I was spreading myself too thin only to get casted out or not considered. And that hurt, you know? So it made me really reevaluate how I spend my time, who I spend my time with. And moving forward in this second half of the year, I mean, depending on when you're watching this, but really just making those shifts. And at a certain point, you have to turn. You can't keep going down this same path. And I was still going down this same path. And the same with social media. I love social media, but I haven't been seeing the progress that I know I can get. So just this morning, you know, I'm inspired by Streamer University. I'm inspired by all these content creators that are now taking it serious, going live, posting more on socials, all of that. But I know the trajectory. It's like you have this spike. You have this major spike of adrenaline. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. And maybe in the beginning, your family, your friends, your community are all supporting you. Then all of a sudden, they're not watching you every single day. They're not watching you on a weekly basis. They've probably unfollowed you because they probably think you post too much. And that's okay. So then that spike starts to either plateau or dip. And I feel like in that dip is who you learn who you really are. And because I've experienced so many dips in my life, I've really gotten to learn who I am and who I am amongst certain people, who I am in certain situations, who I am sober, who I am under the influence. Which one do I like better? Who do I like better? Who do I want to keep in my circle? Who has been there for me the most in times where I've been so down that they went out of their way to help me or to at least think of me or remember something? And it has to go both ways because I know I can be very introverted and in the house, but what I'm getting at is I know I was talking about social media is I want to take this social media thing seriously. For anyone watching that wants to do the same, being self-employed, I've learned that you're going to have this spike in the beginning. And I've heard other entrepreneurs say this as well. And then it's going to plateau, which means it's going to flatten out, or it's just going to take a dip, either gradually or fast. And the old habits that you had prior, for example, 9 to 5 mindset versus a self-employed mindset, two different worlds. So I was taking my 9 to 5 mindset into my professional, entrepreneurial, self-employed lifestyle and world. And it didn't work. In the beginning, it did. But after a couple of years, life has tested me. I'm losing people. I'm losing friends. I'm not enjoying this process. I'm actually miserable. Those are the moments when you really get to know who you are. And even when you're celebrating those highs, those super highs or those wins, are you even acknowledging them? That's a part of who you are and building your character is celebrating those wins and saying, I did that. I'm capable of so much more when I'm in this realm, when I'm focused, when I'm considerate of my time, and when I keep promises to myself, and when I stop disappointing myself. So thank you for watching. If you made it this far, I appreciate you. 1. 2, this is just me, real talks at home. I seem to get into these deep mindsets when I'm just sitting at home on a Saturday, chilling, no one's home. I've done all my chores, most of them. Today we're cleaning windows, but it's just me, God, and my thoughts. And sometimes I think God will leave me alone to be with my thoughts so I can go back to God and be like, yo, why am I struggling here? Why am I thriving over here? And it's cool. Rebuilding my relationship with God has been the foundation of this whole journey. And that's something I definitely want to talk about more, either in the moment or in the future after things have kind of happened, God willing. So I need to go clean my windows, but I wanted to sit here and talk for a few minutes, 16 minutes, just about. But thank you again for watching. We'll continue this conversation. Hit the comments, please, with your thoughts. I know I kind of bounced around. Haven't taken my vitamins quite yet, so I know my mind is just like reeling with everything I've been thinking about these last few weeks and even in these last 48 hours, and trying to get them out to the public in a way that's condensed is tough. But sometimes you got to say it with your chest and not care about the time, or or not even care about the outcome. You just got to put it out there, and whoever needs it will get it, and whoever doesn't, I know you'll be fine. So life is a blessing. Talk to you guys later. I think I need a better outro, but it's your girl Lils. Life is a blessing. Peace.